مساء الخير أعزائي مشاهدين قناة لوجوس. النهاردة أنا معاكم تاني في برنامج حوار على الهواء عشان نكمل باقي المعلومات اللي احنا عايزين نقولها عن القوانين الجديدة في المدارس، واللي هو البيرنتال رايتس أو حق الآباء اللي الولاية بتحاربها دلوقتي. وكمان عايزين نقول أبديت كتير حصل في الفترة الصغيرة دي. احنا كنا هنا الأسبوع اللي فات يوم الثلاثاء اللي فات، كنا بنتكلم وبنعمل يعني وبنطلب منكم ان انتوا تخشوا وتعملوا توصلوا صوتكم للمسؤولين عن القرارات الجديده في المدارس دي، عشان نوريهم ان احنا مش موافقين وكل اللي احنا اتكلمنا فيه. النهارده معانا ابديت كتير قوي، وكمان النهارده معايا وبتشرفني حقيقي يعني واحده انا شخصيا she inspired me a lot، وهي يعني شجعتني قوي قوي قوي، وحسيتني ان احنا اللي بنعمله ده يعني برضو بنعمل حاجات حلوه قوي، بس هي بتعمله احلى بكتير. هي مديره اداره تعليميه. طبعا كل البلد دلوقتي امريكا كلها ويمكن خارج امريكا كمان بيتكلموا عليها، طلعت في كل البرامج وكل القنوات العالميه وطبعا والامريكيه. وانا بشكرها جدا ان هي وافقت تيجي معايا النهارده قناه لوجوس وتقدم كل المعلومات اللي عندها. اللي معايا النهارده هي وقفت وقالت انا مش موافقه على اللي بيحصل لاولادنا، مع ان اولادها كبار، وقالت لا انا مش هعلم ولاد الديستريكت بتاعي الكلام ده، وعملت حاجات كتير هنعرفها دلوقتي. معايا النهارده وبتنورني بشينو فالي يونيفايد سكول ديستريكت بورد بريزيدنت سونيا شا. خلوني اقدم ضيفتي وهحاول اترجم. طبعا البرنامج هيبقى النهارده بالانجليزي برضو، بس هحاول طبعا كل شويه اوقفها واترجم عشان بس ناخد منها قد ما نقدر المعلومات اللي احنا عايزين نوصلها ونفهمها. فلو اي حد عنده اسئله عن التعليم، احنا معانا النهارده مديره اداره تعليميه في امريكا، فلو حد عنده اي سؤال عن التعليم عموما، مش لازم يكون عن القوانين اللي طلعت. طبعا احنا هنتكلم، احنا يعني وي ار فوكسنج ان القوانين اللي طلعت عشان نشوف ايه اللي بيحصل لاولادنا في المدارس. بس لو عندكم اي سؤال اتصلوا بينا على قناه لوجوس، وهنحاول على قد ما نقدر ان احنا ناخد اسئله، لان عندنا معلومات كتير قوي لازم نقولها النهارده. My guest today is Sonia Shah. She is the school board president of a Chino Valley Unified School District. She has been all over the news fighting for parental rights. Today, she will explain to us why she came up with a policy to protect our kids in California, all the kids in California, and also to protect our rights as parents. Sonia, it's an honor to have you here.
I am very blessed to be here with you. Thank you.
Yeah, I really thank you for all the time you give us today, and you empty your calendar and you came to educate Arab community what's going on. So I really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
So this topic is really close to my heart, and since the new laws came out, it has been my main focus to spread awareness in my community about this issue. Thank God the response from my community has been very strong. I want to thank them all. They all respond and they all start sending emails, calling the senators, calling the governor. They all went to Perk, and it was really, really nice. It was a strong response from them.
Yes.
So last month, I heard about you and your policies. Honestly, I was so happy. First, because what you're doing is amazing. Amazing. And second, I was so happy because you are like your district, school district, is our neighbor school district. I'm in Walnut Valley School, Unified School District. Actually, I have only one daughter in high school, and the other one is middle school, the other one in law school, so they are adults, so only one. And of course, it's not that much deal for me, to be honest, but it's a big deal for everything.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, when I heard about you, I called my district. So I said, like, guys, I'm so excited. Like our neighbor district, like Chino Valley, they got a policy saying this. Are we adopting the same policy? And she said, let me give you a call. And I said, okay, I wait. So next day, they called me back.
Yeah.
And sadly, they said, sorry, we're not adopting Chino Valley Unified School District policy.
Yeah.
And I said, shame on you.
Well,
I said, like, shame on you. And because I'm a parent, I have to, they
Absolutely.
have to listen to me.
Yes.
Yeah, so now you issued this policy and asked the school system to inform the parents about their kids' choices.
Yes.
Why do you think it was really important to do that?
You know, a few things. During the shutdown, we saw firsthand what our kids were learning, what they were being exposed to. And then when schools started to go back, we also saw the resistance of allowing parents to come back in to partner again with the schools. We saw them push them out. I was one of them. And, you know, we kind of, just like you, I mean, I'm so proud of you for following bills. We're both moms that never imagined following bills, right? But that is so important because those are the way that they were sneaking all these different things into, right in front of our kids, like right into the school system, and they were making it law to do these things that I call breaking up the family unit. I call an attack, I call them moral issues. I feel like there's an over sexualization that's being pushed on our children. And, you know, us as parents, we have a constitutional right, and you know that, to upbring our children in the best way that we know how. And I feel there has been a constant attack, especially here in California, to take that away. And coming into the school board, I was sworn in December. I never imagined running for office, didn't even know what a school board was prior to that, but I knew something had to change. And we have to be part of that change. You know, you following bills and calling your school district and just holding them accountable, having these conversations. Parents, you mentioned your community is calling the senators and the assemblymen and women, and I cannot thank them enough for doing that because their voice does matter, and we'll get into a little bit on how their voice is really impactful. But I was following bills, got sworn in December, took my first board meeting in January, became the president right there of our school board.
So you're just new in this.
Brand new, just
brand
like
new.
most people, but we learned...
We're all brand new.
Yeah, and we had to learn firsthand, which I think sometimes even seeing our kids having to learn and do put their critical thinking caps on to get through certain problems, that's how we grew up in the educational system, and that's what was taught to us. And I feel like that's being taken away. We're now teaching the kids, this is what we want you to know and think, and you're not to think outside these boxes. And I saw a bill from a new assemblyman come in, and it was AB 1314. And it was finally a bill that we didn't have to be in defense on. And so I did what I promised our community to do. I said, we're either going to write support letters or not support letters as parents follow and call the bills. Our school district will do the same. But AB 1314 was different. We didn't have to be in defense.
So who wrote it?
Bill Aselli. He was a new assemblyman out of Riverside area. And the bill was common sense, you would think. It said, he was trying to make it a law to say, because we know schools were keeping secrets again from parents. We saw a big push of bills to kind of break the family unit up with various bills coming through. Our Department of Education, the focus of them, the focus of the unions, and the focus of our school districts. And I feel like our school districts, we have a lot of great people, but their hands are tied because they're being forced. So AB 1314 comes out. And it was to notify the parents of a few things. If the child wants to change the restroom in the opposite gender that they were born, they want to go in the opposite gender's restroom. They want to join the opposite gender sports team, or they want to be called by a name that's opposite of their born, sex, an opposite gender's name. We know school districts were sending out surveys. They were saying, what do you want to be called, your pronouns. I know for a fact when I was walking and knocking, teachers were asking the kids, do you want to be called by he and him, or her, she, and all this other stuff. It was weird. It's like, this needs to stop. Let kids be kids.
Right.
So when I saw that bill, I said, I'm going to bring it as a resolution for our district to support this bill. So as parents call in and write their letters and emails, us as a district, I wanted it to be voted on so we can write a support letter as well. Because the voice of a school district, of an elected body, we know in joining hands with the parents is louder than just allowing the parents to fight these things on their own. So our school board passed that 4-1. They said, yes, we will send the resolution, we can show up to hearings, we can write emails, or we can make phone calls on behalf of the district.
Okay, so you're supporting the AB 1314?
Yes.
Okay.
Bill Aselli shows up to our school board meeting. And he says, I have good news, bad news. We've been hearing that a lot lately.
Yes.
And we talked about this.
5 minutes ago.
Yes. And he said, bad news, they didn't even allow my bill to go through the fair process, didn't even get a hearing, and it's dead. Good news is, you guys can make your own policy. And I'm like, ding, 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 that's my job. I'm a school board member. We're supposed to make policy and adopt policy. Quickly after that, I got in contact with Bill Aselli. A coalition was formed of all these different leaders, including 2 school board members, one from a county, one myself, and we developed what we called a parental notification policy. It did everything in that bill to tell the school districts, but we also added some other things in there.
Okay, we need to know your policy in details.
Yes.
Let me translate that part so quickly. Like, So, سونيا بتقول ان هي طبعا لما دخلت السكول بورد ما كانتش تعرف اي حاجه، كانت زيها زينا زي اي ام فين، يعني زيها زينا بالظبط، ولا بتعرف تشوف البيلز اللي نازله ولا تقرا القوانين ولا بتخش ولا بتتابع الكلام ده، زيها زينا بالظبط. بس هنعرف دلوقتي منها ايه اللي خلاها تتشجع وتعمل الكلام ده. بس اللي هي بتقوله ان اللي هي لما بقت السكول يعني بقت مديره الاداره التعليميه بتاعت بشينو فالي، اللي حصل ان هي كان في اداره تعليميه ثانيه نزلت بيل اسمها 1314، ودي بتقول ان ان هم لازم يبلغوا الاباء لما يكون في 3 حاجات. لما يكون الولد او البنت عايزين يستعملوا الباثروم اللي مش تبعهم، يعني ولد عايز يخش حمام البنات او بنت عايزه تخش حمام الولاد، لازم يقولوا للبيرنتس. لو عايز يتنادى باسم غير اسمه 3 things. You said the bathroom and
the sports team
and the sports team. لو عايز يخش السبورت تيم بتاع، يعني لو هي بنت وعايزه اتند السبورت تيم بتاع الولاد، ففي ال3 حالات دول لازم يبلغوا الاهل. يعني عايزين ياخدوا شويه، يرجعوا شويه حقوق، وهنتكلم دلوقتي احنا اتكلمنا على حقوق الوالدين ده كتير قوي قوي، فكانوا عايزين يرجعوا حبه حقوق من دول. وللاسف البيل دي ماتت قبل ما تطلع اصلا، يعني ما توافقش عليها في الاسمبلي ولا السنت ولا اي حاجه، فاصلا ما حدش عمل عليها فوت. Before we go to your policy, I want you to tell us, because I was just telling them like you're just a regular mom. So tell me a little bit about yourself before we go into deep with the policy.
Absolutely. So I grew up in a household that didn't have very much parental involvement. So I have a little bit of an understanding on being an involved parent, but also not having involved parents. My dad was from another country. He was from Jerusalem. And he moved out here, and he met my mom, and they got married. Things didn't work out. My mom went into a different lifestyle, took us, in the middle of the night. We were in shelters. It was just a really horrible situation. My mom started doing drugs, and I think looking back, that's probably what gives me the little bit of fight in the end, because we always had to kind of fight for ourselves growing up in this situation.
Because you have a Middle Eastern blood.
Yeah, I do. My husband says that all the time. My husband doesn't have Middle Eastern blood, but he always says, you got some feisty in you.
But let me tell you that when we talk on the phone, and you told me your dad is Syrian from Jerusalem, I said, I knew it. I knew it. Like, I can tell from your strongness that, like, of course, everyone has the same feeling as us, but I knew it. I knew it.
And we have God, right? My dad is a Syrian. He is a Christian from Jerusalem. He came out here.
But you don't speak Arabic.
No, I wish. I love the food. I try to understand it. I try to listen to conversations. But because our childhood was kind of broken, I didn't get that opportunity to learn the language. My mom passed away. My dad ended up raising us 3 kids. My dad lives with me. I take care of him. He has heart failure and some issues with his health. But, being a mom was the hugest blessing. I was volunteering in the classroom. I was the PE mom because I'm a personal trainer. And, we didn't have funding for PE a few years back. I was the art mom because we didn't have art funding. I was the room mom for both of my girls. So I was very involved, but not involved in the other things until I saw that there was a moral, like an attack on our moral and our values, right? We just saw it. So that's kind of why I got involved. I never followed bills before. I didn't know about elections. I never voted until a few elections ago.
Same here.
But it hit our houses.
Exactly.
It came into our houses, and I think when we saw the attack on the children and breaking up the family unit, I feel like we have a moral responsibility to fight against these things. These things are evil. They're an attack on exactly what God created.
Exactly.
And if we don't fight now, we're disobeying God. He tells us to protect his children.
Yes.
And, you know, it's simple things like how you said, with calling, with voicing your thing, showing up.
Yes.
You know? And I was that parent that didn't show up. I didn't know. I was in the classroom, I was doing other things. But when I knew, I could not turn my face and my back to it.
Yes.
When you know, and we're seeing a lot of things being exposed now, we now have a responsibility to fight back because there's no excuse.
Right.
There's no excuse.
Right. So سونيا بتقول ان هي جت من بيت طبعا والدها من سوريا بس هي ما بتتكلمش عربي بس مامتها امريكيه ففي البيت عندها كان في مشاكل زي ما هي قالت يعني مامتها ما كانتش واخداهم في الدايركشن الصحيح فكان يعني الاسره ما كانتش مترابطه قوي بس هي طلعت قدرت تحافظ على بناتها ويعني وكانت هي كل حاجه وكانت بتروح المدرسه وبتحضر بس ما كانتش مديه الاهميه قوي دي لما لقت الوضع بيسوء جدا ابتدت بقى تركز وتشوف البيلز دي وتفهمها وتقراها وابتدت تحضر السكول بورد ميتنج وابتدت تخش تبقى فالنتير في المدرسه عند بناتها وهنعرف اكتر في الكلام اللي جاي. So Sonia just got elected last year in December, right?
Yeah.
And okay. With this new laws, you have been trying to involve parents more in their kids' education, and you came up with the policy in your school district. So, can you tell us in details after like like the bills AB 1314?
Yes.
It's already died.
It died.
Right? Okay. So what did you do?
So what we did, if you have a purpose and a meaning, you can always find a way, right?
Right.
You may not get the answer that you want, you may get disappointment, but I think that makes us stronger because more people start coming to the fight. We developed a coalition, and it was an amazing coalition that worked alongside each other to develop a mindful policy. We worked hard and long on this policy. We were not sloppy. We worked with attorneys because we knew we were going to get pushback from the state because we were going against an agenda. We were going against an obvious attack. So I have a deal with our superintendent. I said, if I'm bringing policy, I'm going to let you know so you can get prepared. And I let him know I'm having this policy. He went and talked to our district attorneys. Mind you, I've already talked to attorneys that are outside our district to let me know what I'm legally about to enter into.
Yes.
Our coalition, like I said, had amazing leaders from all different groups. So we were very strategic with what we were doing.
Yeah, that's smart.
Yeah, and you have to.
You have a lot of wisdom.
You have to because you know you're going to get pushback and you need to know where you stand. So he immediately came back and said...
You're not fighting a person.
No. We're fighting a spiritual battle.
Yes.
100%.
Yes,
and
correct.
like I said, they want our kids.
Yes.
And the enemy wants our kids.
Yes.
And the enemy is the devil, but God wins, right? He already got this battle. He already won this battle.
Yeah.
These are his children. He's going to protect them.
Yes.
Well, I went to our superintendent and said, you know, I'm bringing a policy forward. He went to the attorneys and he said, well, the attorney said it's illegal. And I said, oh, that's great. I'm working with attorneys too. Let me know what law I'm going to be breaking. And he came back and I said, with law? Well, we don't have a specific law yet. Okay, cool. Keep working on it.
So which attorney told you that it's illegal?
The district's attorneys. Like, okay, so you have firms that work for districts and a lot of them kind of work hand in hand with developing these policies, or they at least make sure the policies are legal when you do stuff, or they defend you if you have put something in place. Immediately, they pushed back and said, what Mrs. Shaw is doing is illegal. And I said, cite me the law.
Good.
And 4 weeks passed by, and I'm asking, what law? What law? What law? Nothing. All they can cite is guidelines, and they use student privacy against the parents, which privacy laws and guidelines for the children were never against the parents. They were actually to protect children against third party and government. So that's the only thing they could say. And I said, okay, so there is no law I'm breaking. Mrs. Shaw, it doesn't look like there's any law. Great. Ding, ding, ding. I'm going to bring the policy forward.
Yes.
I believe in transparency. I brought it for a first reading in June. I wanted to do it once school was ending because I knew that there was going to get some heat because, you know, you have this push on both sides now.
Yes.
And I hate even having sides when it comes to our kids, but we've seen an attack that wants to take control of our children.
Yes.
I brought the policy forward in June, said, hey, this is what we're going to bring in, give us your feedback.
So what does the policy say?
Few things. The same thing AB 1314 said. If the child wants to change the restroom from the opposite gender, if the child wants to play on the opposite gender sports team, if the child wants to be identified as the opposite gender of what they were born as.
Okay.
We're not prohibiting any of those things. All we're saying as parents, this is what your child now wants to do. Remember, the child is coming to the school and the teacher saying, I want to do this. So now we're saying, parents, are you aware this is what your child wants to do? Okay?
Yes.
I also
this is
added in a
right.
couple other things.
Yeah.
And common sense things when I was knocking and walking as a candidate, but I was also the president of a local advocacy group that we developed during the COVID time to kind of fight back on some of the policies that were being pushed. And one thing was about bullying. I've heard that over and over. My child was bullied. The school knew about it, didn't tell me until something happened. I heard about my kid was experiencing mental distress, and they were telling the teachers, but no one told me. And you know, that they're trying to find out what's wrong with their child, which is the parent's job. But if the teacher or the school knows, I don't understand why we're not communicating that. This is the parent's child, not the school's child. So the policy said we were going to notify the parents of those particular things.
Okay, they think these laws are protecting kids from their parents.
Yeah.
Who don't support their choices.
Yes.
So are there any policies in schools that protect kids from dangerous home?
Yes. So teachers and admin are mandated reporters.
Okay.
So if a child says, my mom hit me, my dad hit me, I'm abused, we have to report that. There's already systems in place to be able to have the investigation go through and determine if that child is saying that. So when you hear they're trying to, these policies are going to put kids into dangerous homes, I'm over here like, what are you talking about? Then are you sending these kids into dangerous homes knowing they're dangerous?
Yes.
That doesn't make sense.
Yes.
So let me know what policies and safeguards you're putting in place, because you're blindly allowing kids going into these homes that they're claiming are dangerous. Obviously, that's not the case. The case is they want control behind the scenes without the parents involved. Because they know when parents intervene, usually a parent goes partner, or hand in hand, and they help their child, right?
Right.
They don't want that. They want to socially transition kids without parent involvement. And that is wrong.
Yes.
That is not right.
Yes.
You and I growing up, guaranteed, most of us, even with little parental involvement, what did your parents always tell you not to do? Talk to strangers.
Yes.
Or keep secrets with adults.
Yes.
You never keep secrets. Why are we teaching kids in school now to keep secrets with adults from the parents?
From the parents.
That is backwards.
Yeah.
That is wrong. And I think that's where we need to start pushing back.
Yes.
And this only made sense. I never thought this would blow up. We brought it back in July before school started, so we can get the training done with admin on how to proceed with the policy. We didn't put the burden on the teachers. We said, teachers, we understand you don't want to have those uncomfortable conversations with the parents. We will allow the admin to do it. That's the principals and the AP.
Yeah.
We understood.
Yeah.
We don't want to put in teachers in any compromising position.
Make it easier.
Yeah, and the kids, you know, historically, all the time, kids trust their teachers. I trusted my teachers. You want to trust your teachers. So we put that responsibility on the admin, because they're the ones that should be calling the homes anyways.
Right.
So we put that, and it passed 4-1. But during that meeting, we had our state superintendent come down and express frustration, and he wanted us to pull the policy. And we told him no. And, you know, I pretty much told him...
It was a strong no.
No, it was a strong no, because there's history with him, too. He's been pushing. If you look at the Department of Education in California's website and their Instagram, I encourage all parents to go check that out.
Okay.
You will constantly see our kids are failing reading, writing, and math. But yet we have an over push on sexualization, the orientation of children. I don't understand why.
Yeah.
Why? Our kids are failing. Your job is to educate them. Anything brought outside should be done through the home.
Yes.
We don't expect schools to teach our kids about God. That is our responsibility as parents. We don't expect you to teach kids about your different beliefs and ideologies either. Let kids be kids. But yet that's their focus, while our kids are failing. Their job is to educate. And he came down. He tried to tell us he uses taxpayer dollars to come and pay for his trip to come down to try to hijack our meeting. I really believed he tried to do that. He was yelling in the audience, point of order. He was disrupting. He went past his 1 minute. He thought he can get more minutes than anybody else.
By yelling.
I didn't let him.
Yeah.
I said, your time's up. And I thanked him for coming.
I was so proud of you.
I thanked him for coming, but I also told him the truth. We're supposed to tell the truth.
Yes.
And I told him, we're in this position because of people like you. And I said, if I did this in Sacramento, if I went to Sacramento and tried to do this at your meeting, you would kick me out.
Right.
Look at one of the bills. We're going to talk about that bill later.
Yes.
That's disrupting a meeting. You get fined or put in jail.
Yes.
So their own sponsored bills would backfire on them because their actions are exactly what they're trying to do against us.
Yes.
And we passed it. I was proud of our district.
I'm proud of you.
Thank you. I'm just proud of our community for standing up
Yes.
and saying enough is enough.
Right.
We're going to put safeguards in place.
Very
I don't like being in defense, but I don't believe we're going to be in defense very much longer with the momentum of getting parents and the communities together.
So good. Let me translate a little bit.
Yes.
So طبعا انا سالتها يعني هم دلوقتي القوانين اللي بيحطوها دي هم كده بيفتكروا ان هم بيحموا الاولاد من بيتهم من البيرنتس بتاعتهم، فهل في قوانين في المدرسه بتحمي الولاد فعلا لو فعلا في بيوت خطر؟ فهي طبعا قالت يعني لو هم عرفوا منين ان البيوت دي خطر، ولو عرفوا ان البيوت دي خطر طب ليه بنروح الولاد كل يوم من المدرسه ويروحوا بيتهم؟ فقالت كمان ان المدرسه هي والمدرسين وكل فرد شغال في المدرسة هو مسؤول انه لو عرف ان الطفل ده بيحصل له عنف او في حاجة غلط بتحصل في البيت بتاعه انه يبلغ الاماكن المتخصصة بالكلام ده، ولما يبلغ بيعملوا انفستيجيشن وبعد كده هم بس بياخدوا يعني الانفستيجيشن بقى بتكمل وهم بياخدوا بقى بالهم من الموضوع. يعني هم مطالبين ان هم ياخدوا بالهم من الاولاد ومن حالتهم النفسيه ويسالوهم مالك، في مشكله في البيت، في اي حاجه، ده من حقهم، ده فعلا هي مع الموضوع ده، لكن مش مع ان الموضوع ده يبقى سر عن البيرنتس الاب والام. يعني مثلا ما يجيش الولد يقول للمدرسه انا حاسس ان انا عايزه ابقى بنت، وهم دلوقتي مطلوب منهم ما ينفعش يقولوا، لا لازم يقولوا. فاللي حصل ان هم بعد ما رفضوا البيل اللي هي قالت اللي سونيا قالت عليها الاي بي 1314 من الديستريكت الثانيه، هي فكرت تعمل بيل ثانيه وقالت انا هدور على ثغره في القانون عشان ادخل منها، مش هلغي القانون كله، هاخد حتت صغيره القانون ما ذكرهاش ممكن اعمل بيها بوليسي. وفعلا جابت محاميين، الديستريكت عندها جابوا محاميين وعملوا صيغه البوليسي اللي قالت عليها برضو، اللي هي بتقول كذا حاجه ممكن نبلغ، لا مش ممكن، كل تيتشر عندها في المدرسه في الديستريكت كلها، بشينو فالي يونيفايد سكول ديستريكت كلها، كل واحد في الديستريكت بتاعتها مسؤول ان لو في اي ملامح او اي حاجه ان الولد او البنت عايزين يحولوا لازم يقولوا لاهلهم، وبعد كده هم حرين، هم مش هيتصرفوا او هيرغموا الاهل او الاب او الام ان هم يعني لازم تقول لابنك كده عيب او كده غلط، قالت لا احنا بس لازم نقول للبيرنتس. وكمان قالت حاجه تانية مهمه، قالت انا شايفه ان التعليم ابتدى يقل، يعني اللي هو الماث والساينس والإديوكيشن العادي ابتدى يقل، فانتوا ليه سايبين الحاجات المهمه دي اللي الولاد بتسقط فيها دلوقتي ومركزين قوي على ان انا افهم يعني اطفال صغيره انت جنسك نوعه ايه، انت ولد ولا بنت، يعني حد عنده 5-6 سنين ليه نتكلم معاه في الموضوع ده؟ طبعا هي عندها حق في كل اللي بتقوله، واحنا يعني هنتكلم دلوقتي عن القوانين واللي حصل فيها، يعني فحاجه فعلا مؤسفه. Okay, well, you faced a lot of challenges, but you didn't let them stop you.
No.
So what motivated you to keep going?
I knew exactly what the attack was. I knew how bad they wanted control of our kids. They are now suing our district right now. They put us through, our district staff, through horrendous investigations for no reason. They couldn't find anything on us. They were searching through all my emails, my text messages, looking for something, like I broke some kind of crazy law, right? You have our Attorney General now suing Chino Valley Unified School District because of this policy. I think that in itself shows us we're on the right track.
Right, correct.
We have criminals walking free. We have chaos in a lot of our communities. Look at San Francisco. You can't even have businesses opened. And yet he's sending 8 and 9 attorneys at a time to harass our district because we want to notify parents of something very needful in their child's life. I think just seeing the constant attack is the reason why I ran for this seat, to push back.
Yeah.
We need to take these local elected positions seriously because we can make a difference. Look at the state wouldn't want to sue us if we weren't making a difference.
Correct.
They want us to sign on the dot. They want us to all accept the same policy. California schools, I would love for parents to go look at their own policy because I can guarantee most of them have quite the opposite policy. We have the opposite policy where we keep this secret from the parent. That unless the child says, no, you could tell my parent, we won't tell them.
Okay.
And I think that's
So
horrific.
you have the kids' privacy already. It's on.
We took that out because at this point, we don't believe that the parents should have things in place to not know.
Yes.
Now, there is privacy laws in place in California to protect the children from government and third parties.
Government.
Yes, and look who wants the kids. Look who wants to pick and choose what parents should be notified of. Exactly. But I think that when it starts hitting your own children and you start to see them pass these laws that break up the family unit, that try to take the children, they try to take control, we'll go through more specific bills.
Yeah.
That's what made me say enough. I'm not going to give up. Not at all. They come after me. I've had people threaten my life multiple times.
Yeah.
My kids' lives, I get called more bad names than I should. But I think we need to find hope in knowing there's so much more support.
Yes.
There is people afraid because they don't want those threats. They don't want that bullying that they do on you. They don't want to get sued. But in the end, when I get phone calls, I get handwritten notes, I get hugs from kids when I walk on campus, I get people from all over the nation and other states. We're watching you. Whatever happens in California comes to us. Please don't give up.
Oh, wow.
How much hope does that give you? You have so much more support than you do that loud, nasty, people that try to make a stop in what you're doing.
Yes.
But I think those people who are doing those wicked things, threatening your life, sending me nasty messages, calling me names, those are reminders of who wants the children.
Yes.
Because they are threatening my life because I want to involve a parent. That means your children are very valuable to them.
Yes.
And we need to wake up and realize that our children are valuable. Our children are a gift and a blessing from God.
Yes.
And right now, they've made it obvious. So why don't we join together and continue to make it obvious? And we're not going to allow this. We're not going to allow them to harm our children.
Right. So زي ما سونيا بتقول يعني هم كان في اصلا اوريدي سياسه في المدارس ان هي بتحمي الخصوصيه بتاعت الاطفال يعني بس كان بتحميها يعني ما ينفعش تطلع الخصوصيه دي للجفرمنت دلوقتي الجفرمنت بتقول لا انتوا احنا بقى اللي لازم نعرف كل حاجه والاهل ما يعرفوش يعني لازم البيرنتس هم اللي يبقوا بعيد طبعا ده حاجه مش حلوه لينا احنا كمان كمجتمع عربي ان احنا مش عارفين ولادنا ايه اللي بيحصل معاهم في المدارس عشان كده زي ما هي بتقول لازم نكمل ونوصل صوتنا طبعا في اخبار شويه وحشه وفي اخبار حلوه برضو بس مش عايزين نوقف توصيل صوتنا مش عايزين نوقف ان احنا نقول لا احنا مش موافقين عشان هنعرف بعد شويه ان ازاي صوتنا ده بيأثر فعلا في اي حاجه بتطلع وفي قوانين ما نقولش ما نيأس ونقول لا خلاص هم صينوا وخلصوا لا في حاجات تانية كانت بتتوافق عليها وبيرجعوها تاني فهقول لكم دلوقتي اخبار حلوه الاول وبعد كده اخبار شويه مش حلوه okay so I just said like we have a good news and a bad news let's start with the good news like okay the good news is they approved the bill right one of the bill
yes SB 14 which holds criminals accountable for sex trafficking kids. Great. But that only happened because the communities raised up and held our elected officials accountable because they allowed that to die for a second.
Yeah.
And because of the noise and the community coming together saying, no, this is where we draw the line, and pretty much pushing back on the elected officials, they brought it back. And look at, Newsom signed it into law.
Yes, 2 days ago, or a week ago maybe.
Yeah, I think it could even been the last, 48 hours. I don't know. It was recent.
Yeah. So what does this bill say?
That pretty much, that before they were trying to give a slap on the hand for people who were involved in sex trafficking kids. Now they're going to hold them with a felony and hold them responsible at a, they have a, they won't just let it get away.
It's more punishment.
Yes, more punishment.
Yeah.
Because we know our Attorney General is clearly not holding criminals accountable, but this is one area that he messed up. The state messed up. Our elected officials messed up because it involved children.
Yes. So can you explain in a short sentence what is sex trafficking?
Sex trafficking is when they actually take the child and they start selling them to do heinous things with adults. They kidnap the kids. And it's absolutely horrifying. But you see all these other bills, and we'll get through one of them. We call it the state sanctuary kidnapping bill. There is bad criminals. We see it all over. These kids go missing. They put them in the system. They sell them to different things. These people should be held at the highest accountability.
Right.
But our state was pretty much saying no.
Yeah.
I mean, you even had people like Bonta's wife, who our attorney general, his wife is an assemblywoman, voting against this bill to the very end. What does that tell you? They have no best interest in protecting children.
Yes.
It's evil. It's 100% diabolical, and it's evil, and it's vile. But the people spoke up, and they held them accountable.
And it back.
Yeah, and they brought it back, and Newsom signed it into law.
Yes.
Yes.
So this is a great news. Let me give them hope.
Yes. Absolutely.
Okay. So البيل اللي هي SP 14.
Yes.
SP 14. So البيل دي كانت يعني هي توافق عليها خلاص. هي كانت طالعه بتجرم السكس ترافيكينج اللي هو بالمختصر اللي هو يعني ان بيخطفوا الاطفال. ويمكن كان في موفي مشهور قوي في السينما الفتره اللي فاتت دي، ويمكن معظمنا شافوه، عن السكس ترافيكينج. بيخطفوا الاطفال وبيبيعوهم في الماركت. يعني معروف السكس ترافيكينج اتشهر قوي الفتره اللي فاتت دي، فكان العقوبه بتاعته بسيطه جدا. ففاينلي قريب قوي يعني في اليومين اللي فاتوا دول which is يعني ده خبر حلو جدا ان كاليفورنيا الجفرنر مضى ان السكس ترافيكينج ده هيبقى عقوبته كبيره قوي. اخيرا هيعملوا له عقوبه عاليه، فكده هيمنع سرعه التداول بتاعه، لان كانت فعلا وصلت كانت كاليفورنيا نمبر 1 في السكس ترافيكينج. I think California was number 1 in sex trafficking market. So كان عشان ما فيش عقوبه صارمه للموضوع. فدلوقتي الاس بي 14 اتمضى اليومين اللي فاتوا، وافق عليه نيوسم. والبيل دي زي ما بتقول سونيا كانت ماتت خالص، قدموها وما عملوش عليها فوت. لكن لما الناس نزلت، طبعا دي احنا ما سمعناش عنها، احنا جايين بعد ما هي اتمضت، بس الناس يعني ما سكتوش. الحمد لله ان في ناس ما بتسكتش، ولما لقوا فعلا الايميلات والكولز والكلام ده كله وطبعا الراليز اللي بيعملوها عشان الاس بي 14 رجعوها تاني في السنت وتوافق عليها، وكمان الجفرنر مضاها من يومين. There is another bill that got approved, which is a great bill too. We were fighting for it, like I was explaining, 6 bills, and this is one of them.
Yeah.
So it is
957.
957.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
And that one was pretty much if 2 parents are in court and one parent wasn't going to affirm the child's, sometimes the gender, like if the child wants to change his gender, then it would pretty much allow the court to decide in favor of the parent that would. So it was literally getting in between families and the way that you raise your kid.
Of course.
And people were, if this bill passed, they were going to be able to manipulate the system to be able to take control of custody of their children in a manipulative way. And quite frankly, a lot of people stood up to this one. They voiced it. It passed through the Senate and Assembly, but Newsom did veto it.
Yeah.
So
which was
it's a miracle.
Yeah.
But also we need to be very mindful of the other bills that were in place as well. But we also have to take victory in knowing that people's voices do matter.
Yes.
You still have to come together. You still have to hold them accountable. And to be quite frank, until you get people who have best intentions and that have morals and values instilled in them into these elected positions, we're going to keep seeing bills like this.
Right.
It's just the reality of what we're in.
Yes. So البيل الثانيه اللي توافق اللي هي يعني عمل لها فيتو ورفضها، وكانت اتمضت اوريدي من كل السنت، مش كلهم معظمهم يعني، وكانت يعني باسد السنت خلاص وراحت للجفرنر عشان يمضيها، الاي بي 957. الجفرنر رفضها. ودي البيل دي كانت بتقول، لو فاكرين القانون اللي كنا بنتكلم عليه وبنقول ان في حاله الانفصال في المحكمه الطرف اللي من حقه ياخد الفول كاستدي اللي هو بيوافق على تغيير الجنس للاطفال. لو الطرف الثاني مش موافق ده معناه ان مش هياخد الكاستدي، وده اطفال عندها 3-4 سنين نسيبها مع الطرف اللي هو يعني هيعلموا يعني ايه اصلا ويقنعوا يعني ايه يعني تغيير الجنس. فالحمد لله برضو نشكر ربنا، وده برضو بفضل ان احنا كلنا وقفنا وكلنا وصلنا صوتنا. ما حدش يفتكر ان احنا ما عملناش حاجه، لا عملنا، كلنا عملتوا حاجات كبيره قوي. AB 957 كانت هتبقى مشكلة كبيرة جدا وهتقسم الأطفال وهتضيع الأطفال. فالحمد لله نشكر ربنا، دي كانت معجزة إن نيوسم يرفض البيل بعد ما توافقت عليها. دلوقتي هنقول الأخبار الوحشة، عشان في كذا بيل احنا كنا بنصلي عشانهم إن هم ما يمشوش. للأسف في واحدة لسه ممضية من كم من ساعة، لسه سامعين الخبر حالا، اللي هي 1087 right? 1078. So
I actually went to Sacramento and I testified over that one. We had a couple parental rallies up in Sacramento to gather awareness on that one.
I heard about this one, yeah.
Because of school boards changing in this last election, the people, have become a threat to the very bills that Sacramento is trying to push down. This, in all the histories of school boards, they're allowed to determine inappropriate and what is age-appropriate material to go in with curriculum and books. 1078 was put in place to kind of quiet us, and we would have to get approval from the state or the county. The county is usually running hand in hand with the state.
Of course.
So they pretty much will tell you what you're going to put in and out of your curriculum and what books you'll have in your libraries, giving us no local control and taking that away. Now, I will say, reading through the bill, there was a lot of amendments. That's because people spoke up.
Yes.
We went and testified. The hearing I went to, they give you usually 5 minutes to testify. It was me and Jen Wiersma, who is from Temecula. She's a new school board member, too.
Yeah, I heard about
We
Temecula,
both split our time. But this is how they play games. Right before our time, we got our speeches down to 2.5 minutes. We're about to say whatever is on our heart, representing each of our communities and California in general, because we're linked arms with so many beautiful groups all over California. Right when we get there, what does the chair do of the committee? You have 2 minutes each. What? What do you mean? You're going into your time. And I'm like, oh, this is the games we play. Okay,
yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
We did it. The most beautiful part was person after person after person coming in and saying they don't support 1078. The own author of the bill, Tony Thurman, who sponsored the bill, didn't even show up to the hearing in the Senate Appropriations. There was not one person who opposed it. So you had all these people, talking about supporting the bill. We all opposed it. There was not one person in support of the bill. Everybody was in opposition of the bill. Then you had all those moms and dads go into the local elected official's office and tell them to vote no on 1078. You had a wide variety of people linking arms all over California to fight that, because they put us in these positions locally so we can take control, because we know how to serve our communities best. But yet you have the state wanting to dictate again, and they like to puppet our school districts, and that's why 1078 was put in place, co-authored by our Department of Education, Tony Thurman. So using our money, this is how reckless that bill was.
Yes.
They didn't even know how much it's going to cost them. So while we're in a negative as California, we're losing money, we're going to dump money into proposing this bill, not even know, they can't even tell you how much this bill is going to cost to put in place. It's embarrassing. But it also shows, again, they want control of what is put in front of the children. So I think, again, we need to bring awareness to our communities to let them know that. But I would say don't give up hope, because it was highly amended because of everybody speaking out.
Exactly.
And they knew they would be violating certain things and probably even breaking law if they went as strict as it was in the very beginning.
Of course.
So because of people's voices, they did amend things. But here's what I would say, too. There's people like me linking arms with other people to put safeguards in place and make sure that we put safety nets in place to make sure our kids aren't exposed to sexually explicit material. So do not give hope. Support the people that are putting these things in place, because eventually we don't want to be in defense. We want to be in offense. But it's going to take a village to come together. And I think I see that now. I see people speaking up, because these things used to pass with no amendments.
Right.
Now they're being highly amended.
They amended it.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, 1078 got approved.
Today.
Today.
Yeah.
Today, yes. Now.
Yeah, right now, before we came on.
Before we came, yeah. So, وافقوا عليها، ودي أكتر اتنين كنا بنحاربهم أو بنقول إحنا فعلا مش عايزينهم، 1078 وال 665. هنتكلم عن ال 665 بعدين، بس ال 1078 دي اللي بتقول ان مش من حق الاداره التعليميه، يعني لو عندنا حد زي سونيا قلبها فعلا على الولاد، مش من حقها كمديرة الإدارة التعليمية انها ترفض الكوريكولم اللي نازل لها من الستيت. اللي هينزل لازم تقوله، بس اللي هي بتقوله لنا وبيدينا امل ان البيل دي اتعملها امندد كتير قوي، يعني غيروا فيها حاجات كتير قوي. ليه غيروا الحاجات دي؟ عشان صوتكم بيوصل، عشان احنا بنقول لا مش عايزين. لو كانت نزلت بالصيغه الاصليه بتاعتها كانت هتبقى صعبه جدا جدا. هي دلوقتي طبعا صعبه، بس دي اقل صوره وصلت لها، لان اتعمل لها امندد كذا مره، يعني غيروا فيها حاجات كذا مره ما يوافقوش ويرجعوها تاني يغيروا فيها حاجات. والنهارده سمعنا برضو حتى القانون اللي راح حتى لنيوسم عمل له برضو غير فيه حاجات، ان هو قال لو المناهج فيها حاجه تخص السكس يعني بيعلموهم عن السكس ممكن يشيلوها، لكن لو حاجه تخص تغيير الجنس مش من حقهم يشيلوها. لكن لو انتوا بتتكلموا عن حاجه حاسين ان دي الاطفال شويه مش من حقهم يتعلموا عن الجنس والكلام ده، ممكن من حقكم ان انتوا تمنعوها من المدارس او تاخدوا راي البورد وتقولوا مش عايزين ندرسها عندنا. لكن لو حاجه تخص التغيير الجنسي ما ينفعش تمنعوها. للاسف البيل 1078 بازد من ساعه كده ولا حاجه، للاسف. Okay, so do private schools have to follow the same laws as public schools?
Well, that's where they're getting creative. There is some stuff they're tied into, and there is stuff that are trying to hold their hand to, but we've already seen attack on the private schools, charter schools, and now there's talks about homeschool because they see a mass exit out of public school system. So they're trying to prohibit all these other avenues that parents are finding to make sure their kids are educated and not indoctrinated.
Right.
And they're starting to look at bills and laws to try to prohibit those entities from doing and serving their communities as well. That's why I think it's so important for us to be aware, regardless of your kids in private school, you may think they're safe now, but I think that we need to obviously still join together with all of these parents to fight against what happens, because I think sometimes we forget. If your kid is in private school or being homeschooled, who are they growing up with? The same kids that are being educated, the majority, into our public school system.
Right.
I know you mentioned AB 665.
Yes.
And I want to tell everybody,
yes,
call. He
Yes.
didn't sign it yet.
Yes.
Make it known.
it's on his desk now.
It's on his desk, but that was named the state sanctuary kidnapping bill. When it first was brought forward, it literally said a wellness technician can just take the kid and not even call the parent, because they determine for any reason that the kid may be in some kind of harm. They don't even have to justify it, and they could have taken them away and put them into the state system. And I think parents need to be aware of that. It's been amended through the process.
Yes.
Because of people speaking out, but it's still a horrific bill. And what happens when these bills pass, regardless of the amendments, you know what our state legislators do? They bring them back the next year and they amend them to make them that much more stronger.
Oh my God.
So you may find victories in these things now, which is great, but if we don't continue to hold them responsible and we let off just a little bit, we're in trouble. Because they're going to come back and bring them in. They've been known to gut things and then totally make things very, very vile. But because people are watching now, they're not getting away with it so easy. And they don't like that. It's like, I always refer to it shining the light on cockroaches. They all scatter because no one really wants to hold anybody responsible for what's going on.
Yeah.
But when it comes to the children, you've also seen them be very publicly bold about making sure that they want to continue with their agenda, and I think that's where we need to continue just to fight against it. And again, get people in these positions that are going to fight against the main push of breaking the family units apart.
Right. So I ask Sonia like هو القوانين دي بتمشي على المدارس الخاصة كمان؟ طبعا هي قالت لغاية دلوقتي لا، بس هم بيحاولوا يحطوا ايديهم كمان على البرايفت سكول، وقريب قوي طبعا هيقدروا يعملوا كده، لان هم لقوا معظم الناس ابتدوا يحولوا للبرايفت سكول، فهم عندهم بلان عايزين الاولاد يعني. فزي ما سونيا بتقول دلوقتي البيل AB 665 ودي اللي بتقول ان الطفل من هو عنده 12 سنه من حقه يسيب البيت ومن حقه ياخد قراراته الصحيه لوحده، ومن حقه اتكلمنا فيها كتير بس عشان الوقت مش عايزه افتح فيها تاني. البيل دي الوحيده اللي لسه ما اتمضتش دلوقتي، AB 665. يا جماعه نخش على بيرك ونساين نبعت. انتوا لو دخلتوا على بيرك دلوقتي الويب سايت اللي بحطه على طول هحطه لكم على الكومنت بعد الحلقه، مش هتلاقوا فيه دلوقتي غير ال 665. لو سمحتوا عايزين النهارده على قد ما نقدر، يعني دلوقتي وانتوا قاعدين تخشوا على الويب سايت وتعملوا اللي احنا اتفقنا عليه، تبعتوا ايميلز للجفرنر، تكلموا ارقام التليفون للجفرنر وتقولوا احنا مش عايزين البيل دي، we need you to protect our kids. يعني قولوا اي حاجه، وصلوا صدقوا، اتكلموا، ان شاء الله تتكلموهم بالعربي، يعني اعملوا اي حاجه، بس المهم ان يبقى فيه التليفونات ويبقوا الناس عارفه ان احنا مش موافقين على ده. البيل دي صعبه جدا، ال 665 دي صعبه جدا جدا. يا رب يا رب محتاجين صلاه، ومحتاجين فعلا ان احنا كلنا نقف ايد واحده قدام البيل دي بالذات. The time is flying. Oh my God. I want to ask you about homeschooling. And do you recommend homeschooling? I will ask you quickly.
Yeah, I absolutely do, but not all kids have that avenue. But if you can pull your kids out, do not be afraid. Do not be timid of homeschooling. There's so many great programs. There's so many moms and dads forming groups to give the support to each other. It's not necessarily you're teaching your child. You're facilitating a teaching in the comfort of your own home or in small groups. I've had many friends who have taken that route because they're able to, but we also know a lot of children cannot take that route because of parents working two jobs or whatever it may be, or no parents really involved in the home. But if you can, I would say
So you recommend
take the challenge, especially if you have little ones. Because right now, I don't feel the system is safe. You see all these things being passed on things that we need to bring in, curriculum that we need to bring in. Nothing is about educating the kids anymore. The focus is on totally something different. And I know us as believers do not align with these ideologies pushed into the classroom. So don't be timid. Start talking to other moms and dads in your community. And I guarantee you're going to find more comfort when you guys are doing it together, and more support. But if I had little ones, I would yank them out and do that until we can get back some people who are mindful and care about families and have morals and values into these elected positions to start pushing back and also start to educate our kids again.
Yes, yes. So طبعا هي بتقول ان هي بتريكومند طبعا الهوم سكولينج لو نقدر، عشان دي في حاجات مختلفه قوي لو احنا نقدر نعلم فعلا ولادنا. انا اسفه انا مش هقدر يعني اشرح كتير لان الحلقه اولموست خلصت وكان معانا اسئله كتير لسونيا، فهلحق اسالها اخر سؤال اللي هو what is your advice to us as parents to be involved in our kids' education?
I would say honestly, start getting involved.
Yes.
Volunteer in classrooms. See what's being taught firsthand. See how the classroom, environment is, the culture is. Start showing up to your school board meetings.
So I can go to school and said I wanna be in the school today.
That is your right.
It's my right.
Yes, it is your right to go into
my
classrooms.
school kid.
You can watch your classrooms. You can go sit in there, watch, or you can ask to volunteer. Sometimes volunteering, some teachers want it, some teachers not, but you still have a right to go watch the classroom.
Oh, okay.
So,
I can be in my kids' class.
Yes. So you can go to your front office and ask them. That is a parental right that we still have.
Okay,
and
good.
I would say
We still
utilize
have
that
something.
because you want to know who is teaching your child. I've seen amazing educators, but I've also seen ones that I'm like, why are you telling the kids that? Why are you approaching the kids with this conversation? This is inappropriate. So I think being involved, you're going to hold them accountable, right?
Yes,
you're going to be more aware.
Yes.
And I also say attend your school board meetings.
Yes.
Start to listen to what these people
This
are
is
doing.
how you start, Sonia.
That's how, as parents got together on social media because we didn't like some things, we developed a grassroots parent group. I became the voice and the president of the parent group with no experience.
Yeah.
As parents learned how to follow bills,
Yeah.
we learned how to try to talk to some of our local elected officials. We were pushed out, but it still made us get more involved. The more they pushed us out, the more we knew they were keeping secrets.
Right.
And they had an agenda. So get involved. Go to your school board meetings. Pull your school board agenda. 72 hours before your school board meeting, mind you, every district has to post their dates of their school board meeting, and you'll usually find it under Board of Education somewhere on your website. Go to there, look at your date.
Board of Education
Yes.
website.
And then they'll usually have dates of when your meetings are, okay? 72 hours before that meeting, by law, we have to post our agendas. Start looking at the agendas. I'm telling you right now, sometimes our agendas were 400 pages. We would take this parent do this parent read this parent read that, and we would find all this wicked things inside there that were just being passed without a conversation.
How long is the school board meeting?
Some are quick, 20 minutes, some are hours. It depends on what the issues at bay are, or if they're bringing in policy that may be controversial or may bring a lot of community involvement. So it really just depends. A school business, it's usually the school board does their business in front of the public and allows public to participate. That's what a school board meeting is.
Yeah.
So it's not a meeting of the public, but it's a meeting in front of the public, but the public is allowed to participate and voice their concerns.
And they can talk?
Yes, you can. Every school board will allow, usually they're between 1 and 3 minutes for a certain amount of time. Sometimes you'll see at 30 minutes they cut them off. If we have 89 speakers, our school board had voted to allow each one of them, but we went from 3 minutes into 1 minute to allow, that's still 89 minutes plus the walking up to the podium. So some school boards are very interested in the community's voice and some just want to minimize it and not hear it. But you can always email, you can always phone call like how you did.
Yes.
And hold them accountable. Let them know you're watching these things. Those things make a difference.
Yes.
They really do.
It
Because
does.
no one wants at the end of the day to be yelled at or yapped at or even being shown in the light of what they're really trying to do. They may have bad intentions, but if we start holding them accountable, you're going to bring more awareness to your community. It does not take much education. I mean, you have parents that from all different walks that came. I was never able to go to college when I was younger. I never did go to college, so I don't have a big education, but I have a heart to follow what is right and wrong.
Yes.
So my encouragement is don't allow those things to be barriers.
Right.
Make sure you get involved.
100% agree.
I
with you.
love, too, when we have parents at the podium and they're speaking in their native language and we get an interpreter, because that means they're now aware and they want to be involved, and that is a beautiful thing to see
just
people.
saying, if you don't know how to speak English, call and speak in Arabic.
Well,
Tell them.
if you tell your school board meeting, usually they have to, I would have to check into it, but usually they provide a translator, too.
But just tell them, like, you have to express yourself. Like, you have to call, you have to make an action.
You do.
Yeah, you have to.
Yes, and the internet has a lot of translating apps. It may not translate perfect, but I've had parents who've written to me maybe in Chinese or something, and I don't know how to read that, but I put it into an app, and it gives me maybe not the exact interpretation, but it lets me understand where they're coming from.
Yes.
And that, to me, is a great thing because I'm hearing from all of our community.
Right.
That is our job as elective officials.
Yes.
You hold us accountable, and you also voice your concerns or your support in things.
Yeah, we really need a lot of like you, Sonia.
And we will.
Yeah.
Because I'm nothing special. I'm just somebody who loves our family, who loves our nation, who loves our state, who I believe in people and I believe in protecting our kids. I'm not something rare. We just need more common sense people to take on these positions.
Yeah, yeah. Yes, that's so sad, to be honest. So I want to translate, but no, I want to know before we're almost there. We're done very much. So what is the next step you're doing now?
So the next step, we're going to court still on our policy, and prayerfully the TRO, which is a temporary restraining order not allowing us to put the policy in place, is lifted. If not, we have a great nonprofit, Liberty Justice Center, who is representing us at no cost to our district.
Okay.
In the meantime, I'm watching bills. I'm going to bring policies and safeguards in place. I'm working on something with sexually explicit material right now. So I'm constantly in the know because I'm involved and I'm listening to our community. I'm linked arms with our community. And our next step is just to make sure that we're being proactive. I don't want to always be on defense. That's the worst position we can be in. But I feel like we're developing a rock star team all around California to start bringing common sense back.
Yeah, we are united now.
Yes, which is beautiful.
Yes, yes.
Yep. And that is a gift and a blessing from God.
Yes, God bless you. God bless you, Sonia. So, أنا سألت طبعا مش هلحق أترجم كل اللي اتقال، بس اللي أنا سألته هي بتقول إن هي برضك مكملة تشوف البيل وهتبتدي تعمل بوليسي تاني. كل ما هتشوف بيل هتحاول تعمل بوليسي قانونية، ويا ريت كل الديستريكت الباقية طبعا تعمل زي ما سونيا بتعمل. واللي عجبني قوي في كلام سونيا يا جماعة إن هي قالت هي ما كانش ليها أي علاقة، حتى معهاش تعليم عالي. ما عندهاش تعليم عالي قوي يعني، وما عندهاش اي علاقه باللي بيحصل في المدارس، بس راحت اول ما لقت الوضع كده وحش ابتدت تروح السكول بورد ميتنج وتحضر، وبعد كده ابتدوا يتجمعوا مع بعض امهات مع بعض ويقولوا لا احنا مش عاجبنا كذا، ويبعتوا ويتكلموا. دلوقتي هي فين؟ دلوقتي هي بتدافع عن ولادنا، وهي ايه؟ هي بقت مديره الاداره التعليميه بتاعت ولادها، اللي هي كانت بتروح بس تحضر السكول بورد ميتنج بتاعهم وبس عشان عايزه تفهم ايه اللي بيحصل. فطبعا ربنا استخدمها، وربنا يستخدم ناس كتير، واحنا بنصلي ان ربنا يستخدم ناس كتير لحماية اولادنا، بس برضو ما ينفعش نقعد نتفرج. نعمل ايه؟ نتصل، نبعت ايميلات. عندنا الاي بي 665 لسه محطوطه على الديسك بتاعه الجفرنر. محتاجين نصلي كلنا، كل الكنايس وكل المساجد وكل مكان وكل بيت، عرب، امريكان، ارمن، كلنا كل الجنسيات الموجوده جوه امريكا محتاجين فعلا نبقى ايد واحده عشان مستقبل اولادنا. لو الكلام ده كله حصل فعلا واتطبق فعلا، يعني ربنا يرحمنا، مش عارفين ايه اللي هيحصل. Sonia, like I know you have a rally tomorrow.
Yes,
right?
we do.
So this is, so like this rally, it's, what are you doing in this rally?
We're bringing more awareness, bringing communities together. Like I said, I never in a million years thought I'd be going from coast to coast, DC, a week ago, here, there, everywhere.
Right? It wasn't planned.
No, not at all. But God had a plan.
Yes, that's true.
And
We're
tomorrow,
there for a reason.
Absolutely.
Yes.
We're going to a community park in Simi Valley just to bring families together. We're going to have food trucks there. We're going to go over parental rights, how you can get, be actively involved in your communities. It is.
Yeah.
And I think those are important.
Yeah,
and it's important for hope, because us as humans, we need hope. Hope is provided by God, but we have a responsibility to carry that message for him. And I just want to make sure people know, give God your yes. He's going to provide the way on how to fight these things. He's going to give you the tools. He's going to open and close doors. I think we also need to remember God's already won this battle.
Yeah, so God bless you. I really...
Thank you.
I don't know what to say, because like you're doing amazing. God bless you.
Thank you.
So tomorrow, where is the rally? In Simi
5 to
Valley?
7. It's in Simi Valley. If they go on my social media, I have the flyer, and I can
Yes.
share it again.
Okay.
And I give all the information.
اوكي.
Yeah.
So بكره في رالي من 5 ل 7 في سيمي فالي، وده هيبقى عباره عن ان هم طبعا سونيا هتبقى موجوده، وكل الناس اللي بتشجع ان احنا نقف ايد واحده علشان ندافع عن حقوقنا كاباء وحقوق ولادنا الاطفال دول. فهيبقوا عاملينه في سيمي فالي، وده هيبقى بس عباره عن ان هم هيشرحوا طبعا كل الكلام اللي احنا قلناه. طبعا لو حد يحب يروح ويتعلم ويعرف ايه اللي بيحصل، هتبقى طبعا فرصه حلوه جدا ان احنا نقابلهم ونتكلم معاهم ونقول لهم احنا خايفين من ايه، ونقول لهم اسئلتنا. طبعا الحلقه خلصت والوقت جري بسرعه جدا، ساعه دلوقتي. فانا مبسوطه جدا ان كنت معاكم النهارده، وهنكمل مش هنقف. انا مكمله وانتم مكملين، هنكمل لسه في البيل AB 665. محتاجين بجد ان احنا نقف كلنا ضدها. ابعتوا ايميلات، اتكلموا، عملنا حاجه مش ما عملناش، عملنا. مش احنا اللي عملنا، ربنا اللي عمل. ربنا ايده قويه جدا، وزي ما هم عندهم قوه في كلامهم وحركاتهم وافعالهم، ربنا اقوى من كل ده. احنا معانا ربنا. فاتمنى فعلا ان احنا كلنا نتكاتف ونعمل كل اللي احنا قلنا عليه قبل كده. كنت مبسوطه جدا ان هي وافقت تيجي معانا النهارده. طبعا ملهاش اي مصلحه انها تيجي في تتكلم مع العرب وتقول الكلام ده. طبعا ده بيبين قد ايه قلبها الحلو. على فكره الوقت مش مكفي، هي فعلا قلبها حلو ومؤمنه جدا جدا، وكل اللي بتعمله بتقرا الانجيل على طول وبتصلي على طول قبل ما بتعمل اي حاجه. للاسف ما كانش عندنا فرصه نتكلم عنها حياتها الشخصيه، بس اوعدكم هنجيبها مره تانية ونتكلم عن حياتها الشخصيه، لان حياتها الشخصيه كمان فعلا يعني انسبايرنج قوي، يعني تدينا فعلا حماس قوي لكل ام ان انت يعني مش لازم تبقى معاكي شهاده عاليه ولا يعني بتعملي حاجات كبيره قوي، اي ام او اب كمان، لكن المهم ان انت تهتمي بولادك. واحنا دلوقتي عايزين كلنا نركز على مستقبل اولادنا. احنا جينا امريكا عشان اولادنا، مش عايزين اولادنا يضيعوا مننا. Sonia, it was a pleasure meeting you today.
You too. Oh, my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. Thank
Absolutely.
you.
A big blessing. Thank you for all that you're doing too.
Oh, thank you for coming to the show. And I just say, like, you don't have any benefit from that, but
No.
it's your heart.
Yes,
It's your
absolutely.
heart. It's all about your heart. God
100%.
bless you. Bless your heart.
Thank you so much. To you as well.
Thank you. انتظروني قريب على شاشة قناة لوجوس، عندنا مفاجأة هتسمعوها قريب. بس أنا كنت مبسوطة جدا إن أنا كنت معاكم النهاردة تاني، واذكرونا في صلاتكم وصلوا من أجل أولادنا. مع السلامة. العالم.